Hey guys, today I'm going to try to do my own video of using an area model to divide because I understand some of you got a little confused with the YouTube video. So the problem that we started working on was 78 divided by 3. And I want you to remember that when we are working with division, we're working with the inverse, the opposite of multiplication. So your model's a little bit opposite too. We're always starting with our rectangular area model because the area is finding the number of square units inside. We could find that by length times width, and we already know one of those measures is 3. We need to find the measure up here. We also know that the rectangle is already 78 units big. So we decompose the 78, 70 and 8. I always recommend come over to the side and write the first couple multiples of your number. That might help you a little bit in a few minutes. And then remember that order. We're always going to do the division, the multiplication, subtraction, and then the bring down or over. So the first thing we're doing here is we're going to say how many times does 3 go into 70? And I don't know my 3's all the way to 70, so I'm going to ignore that 0 for a few minutes, and I'm going to say how many times does 3 go into 7? And I look over here, and I see I can go twice, but if I try a third one, it's too many. So I'm going to take 2 of those sets of 3, but since it was 7 tens, I need to now put that 0 back to make it 2 tens. And that was just my division step. Next I multiply, so I take my 20 times 3. Well, that's one that I can count by, 20, 40, 60. So I know 3 groups of 20 are 60. And then I'm going to subtract. 70 minus 60 leaves me with 10. Now remember, I can't have anything left in the column. They have to come down to 0. So I'm going to take that 10 and I'm going to bring it over here. There's already 8 in that column. I'm going to add the 10 so that I now have 18. And since I have something in this column, I come back to the top and I start with a division again. So I'm saying how many times does 3 go into 18? And if I don't know that, I can come over here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. Those partial quotients always go on the outside. That's the number we're trying to find. And I just did division. Now I do multiplication. 6 times 3 is 18. And then I'm going to subtract to get 0. And that's what I want. I have to have a 0. So that tells me there's nothing to bring up as a remainder. All I need to do is add my partial quotients, and I see that 78 divided by 3 is 26. Now we've done this one. That should have just been a quick review for you. Let's look at another one that we haven't done yet. And let's see here. Let's do 87 divided by 4. Okay? So always start with that rectangle. My 4 is my divisor, it goes on the outside. I'm going to decompose the 87 on the inside. 80 plus 7 and make 2 columns. I'm going to remember division, multiplication, subtraction, and then bring down or over. And I'm going to do the first couple multiples of 4. So the first question I have to ask is how many times does 4 go into 80? Well, that's a nice one. I know 4 goes into 8 twice, so 4 goes into 80 20 times. I just did division. Now I'm going to do the multiplication. What do we get with 20 times 4? Well, it is 80. Then I subtract, and I get 0. I like 0. That's what I want. So I don't have anything to bring over. If it helps you to do that step, just say you're bringing over 0. Now I have a 7. How many times does 4 go into 7? Well, I know it goes into 7 once. 1 times 4 is 4, and when I subtract, I have 3 left over. This time, since I don't have 0, before I assume that that's a remainder, I have to ask myself, can I get 4 to fit into 3? How many groups of 4 fit into 3? Well, in 4th grade, we're only working with whole numbers, so I can't get any groups of 4 into 3. So that tells me that that 3 comes up here, and it's going to be a remainder. Remember, it has to have a capital R. And these are my two partial quotients. I go ahead and add those, and I find that 87 divided by 4 is 21, remainder 3. And I can check that by multiplying 21 by 4 and then adding 3, and I will get 87. I'm going to try to do one more here before my time runs out here. And let's do 76 divided by 3. Okay. Always start with that rectangular area model. 3 is our divisor, it goes on the outside. 76 is the number of units on the inside. I'm going to decompose it into 70 plus 6. I'm going to remind myself of the steps. And I'm going to do the first couple multiples of 3. So I have to figure out how many times 3 goes into 70. And it doesn't fit in there evenly. I can take 2 copies out. I can see 3 goes into 7 twice. And that's 7 tens, so 2 tens. And then I multiply 20 times 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6, so 20 times 3 is 60. I had 70, I take 60 away, so now I have 10. Remember that I can't keep any in there, so I'm going to bring the 10 over here and add it to the 6 that's already there. So now I have 16. Then I'll start back at the top with my division. How many times does 3 go into 16? Well, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then if I tried to get another copy out, it'd be too many. So it goes in there 5 times. Multiply 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract 16 minus 15, I have 1. And this time again, before I assume that's a remainder, let's make sure that I took enough out. So can 3 go into 1? If I have 1, can I get any groups of 3? Not without making it a fraction. So that 1 I bring up to the top as a remainder. I add my partial quotients, and I see that 76 divided by 3 is 25, remainder 1. Remember, I can check that 25 times 3 is 75, plus 1 more is 76. Now, this should have been just a review for you since we've already had instruction, but I hope that this review was a little easier for you to see than the YouTube video. Go back and watch it, rewind it, copy it in your notebook, watch the iReady tutorials, and this is just one of the 3 ways we will learn to model division, but make sure you understand it because oftentimes on those tests they're going to give you a model with some of the numbers blanked out and you have to fill in the blanks. So it's important that you know, that you understand, and that you ask questions if you have them. So thanks for your hard work, guys. I will see you next time.